Today's review is Swallowed. This is a film written and directed by Carter Smith. It follows the story of Benji and Dom, and they're in love. And it's a problem. They're childhood best friends. Benji is openly gay. Dom is straight, though it's not so much a problem in terms of their sexuality, but in terms of them not really admitting this love to each other. Further a problem because Benji is leaving. He's actually kind of made a name for himself in, well, let's say, independent adult entertainment, and he's signed a deal with some kind of porn studio, and he's heading off to Los Angeles, and they're having their goodbye bash, and they, won't really say to each other what they mean to each other. But the thing is, Dom is concerned about Benji and how he's going to make it. He wants to raise some money for him, and the way to do that is through drug smuggling, though this is not your average kind of drug smuggling, which is where the horror element of this film comes to be. What we have here, it's very, very strange. So basically, things go a little bit wrong. He thinks, Dom, he thinks through his cousin, he's going to be able to get the money, and she's going to do a drug run, but she kind of screws things up by taking too much of something, and the intermediate between the drug mules and the big boss is starting to get a little antsy, and that's Jenna Malone, playing a character named Alice, who's pretty much pressuring these two, Benji and Dom, into fulfilling the duties of Dom's cousin. Whatever this drug is, it's not your traditional kind of drug. In fact, it's some kind of bug, right? So it's wrapped up in a condom. They gotta swallow it, hence the title. It's gotta make its way through their gastrointestinal tract. They gotta poop it out. They're given very specific instructions. You don't want these things in you too fucking long. Trust me on this. You gotta make sure they're nice and clean after. Tepid water, not too hot, not too cold, whatever. And they're like, okay, fine, we're gonna do this. We're gonna cross the border into Canada, True North Pride, and get these drugs delivered to the big boss. But as you can imagine, in such a film, things go wrong. They're trying to release these bug-filled condoms in a rest stop just outside the border. But they run into some trouble with this redneck fella who gives a really bad gut punch to Dom, and that, I guess, ruptures and breaks the condom and lets loose this bug, which bites him, causes paralysis, causes his junk to swell up in footage that I guess has to be seen to be believed, though I can't show it here on YouTube, and makes him quite ill, and of course brings Benji into a panic. So this is kind of the first half of the film, kind of the smuggling and the tension there, but where things like really kind of heat up in the film is where we meet the big boss, and this is Rich, played by Mark Patton. So they meet out in seclusion in this little kind of cabin in the woods to finalize a delivery, and he's this old queen, who's self-professed old queen, who obviously has untold means because this business in this bug drug is apparently booming, and there's a high demand for it, and he's not happy, and he's getting a little itchy with the trigger finger. So they're all in danger. Benji, Dom, and Alice, of course. So it becomes this tense kind of game of cat and mouse, particularly between Benji and Rich. So that's where we kind of hone in on the main conflict of the movie, which is played out extremely well, I think, and quite tense, and really just entrancing with these performances. Mark Patton, I suppose he needs no introduction. He's Jesse from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Kind of disappeared for a little bit, but this is like discovering him all over again. He's absolutely terrific in this role, where you can't necessarily read him. That's the main issue that Benji is having, is that he doesn't know if he can trust this guy. He's going to let him live or die or not, and obviously that is a source of tension, and still trying to get these bugs out of their ass, right? So that's a tough order, and a really kind of careful game that Benji has to play. But yeah, Mark Patton, so terrific in this role. He has this air about him where he's a little soft spoken, he's friendly, but you sense there's conflict in him, in that he may have to kill this kid, but also in a way he has this being the older gay gentleman, he seems to have this kind of feeling towards youth of just hatred, in a way, a resentment of youth and a younger gay gentleman that he's seeing, and almost comparing himself to him in a way. So he has that malice towards him, but he also very obviously is very attracted to him and titillated by him, and just kind of playing with him in a way. And you kind of start to think, bring it back to Mark Patton's earlier role. This is exactly what Freddy Krueger was kind of about. That's what Robert Englund had said in interviews. This is where he got kind of the main source of inspiration for the Freddy Krueger character, having this disdain for youth and wanting to kill them, but also having this attraction to them in this way. So it kind of comes full circle in that way in Mark Patton's performance, which again is quite good. And I guess you could read into it a little bit more, in that these bugs being so dangerous. Like, I mean, to bite you does cause what he describes as a head trip, and making you paralyzed, and giving you a hard on. He says the last 9 hours. But you can feel everything, he says, though you are paralyzed, can't move. So much can go wrong. It doesn't take much for, I guess you would call it, an overdose of these bug bites. So you do kind of think, like, if we have this older generation gay man who has this disdain for the youth, and even like kind of we see this in some of the dialogue where he hints a little bit of his youth and being taken advantage of, and he name drops these old gay icons that today's youth doesn't know about, and he kind of scoffs at that, and you wonder if this old generation has some kind of I don't presume to know about the gay culture, the gay community, in general, but let's say specific for this movie, there is some kind of sick longing for the days of danger, very serious, deadly danger that would come with, sexual encounters from an era in which a character such as Rich obviously had grown. So I found that kind of interesting. And using these bugs, this horror element, whatever they may be, if they are something of this earth, or if they are something that, maybe from, I don't know, they're an alien maybe, I don't know. But using it in that way, I found pretty interesting. And we only catch quick glimpses of them here and there. It's more of a character-based thriller kind of thing, but the effects are good. And the standoff between these two characters is good. We have Cooper Koch playing Benji, and just this year, I mean, he kind of really came to a huge prominence in a very acclaimed role in the Menendez brothers series that was on Netflix. So, and he's terrific in that. So I think a lot of people may come back to this movie or discover it for the first time to see his past work, and he's great in this. And to see these two actors playing against each other is quite good. And obviously, Jenna Malone, she's great. She's made her name kind of like this horror icon in and of herself, appearing in many great roles, and this is one of them. She's really great in the movie. Also great in his supporting role as Dom is Jose Colon, or if I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know how that casting audition may have went. Your name is Jose Colon, Colon. You got the job, kid. Given the subject matter of the movie, pulling these bugs out of your butt. But he's really good. You buy this kind of unspoken romance between the two characters, and kind of why they can't be together in a way. And there's a moment very early on in the film where Benji says to Dom, well, give me one good reason why I should stay here. And you can kind of tell he's hurt by that. So there's a lot of subtleties in the performances here. So altogether really good. I mean, it's like it's body horror, and the most vulnerable part of your body they couldn't think of has these disgusting bugs coming out in condoms and all that. Great performances, great tension. I think it's a great movie. It's something pretty different, I would say, than your average horror movie. Obviously, having kind of a queer eye in this particular story. So I definitely recommend it. But I will go into just one little spoiler, if you don't want to go to that. Just check out the movie if you're interested in that. But spoilers to follow. It is just these two actors, Mark Patton and Cooper Koch, for maybe the last half hour or so of the movie. It's just them because the other characters don't quite make it. Jenna Malone is killed, and Dom is he does basically, he overdoses on too many bites. One of the condoms just rips open. The bug must have had its way in his innards and all that. So it's just these two. Really kind of comes down to this old generation, new generation kind of thing. And by the end of it all, I'll say this: Benji makes it out alive, and he does go on to prosper in the porn industry in L.A. So it's a happy ending. But one thing, because this is my second time watching the movie for this marathon for this review, one thing that I didn't quite catch when I first saw the movie, he has a porn star name, and that name is Benji Dom. So I thought that was a nice touch at the end. So Swallowed, very good movie. Definitely something different that I would recommend. But we're doing horror movie reviews all throughout the month of October 2024 here on the channel. So stay tuned for more. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time, and until then, stay scared.